If you are even thinking about buying property in 2026, you need to stop everything and listen to what I am about to tell you, because making a wrong decision right now could destroy your finances for the next 20 years. There are 4 locations in Britain where people are losing everything they have worked their entire lives for. And the terrifying part is that most buyers have absolutely no idea they are walking straight into a financial trap that will swallow their savings, crush their dreams, and leave them trapped in properties they cannot sell at any price. This is not speculation or fear-mongering. This is happening right now to thousands of families across Britain who thought they were making smart investments. And if you buy in any of these 4 places, you could be next. Here at UK Property Point, we have spent months analyzing the most comprehensive data available from the Office for National Statistics, the Land Registry, the Department for Work and Pensions, and Council financial reports. What we discovered was disturbing. 4 locations in Britain share identical warning signs that spell absolute disaster for anyone who puts their money into property there. These are not minor market corrections or temporary dips that will bounce back. These are fundamental collapses driven by forces that cannot be reversed. Mass exodus of working families, complete failure of local employment, councils that have effectively gone bankrupt, and property prices that are falling so fast that the bottom simply does not exist. If you care about your financial future, you need to know exactly where these places are and why you must avoid them at all costs. Birmingham is Britain's 2nd largest city, and what is happening there should terrify everyone who thinks major cities are always safe property investments. The City Council declared effective bankruptcy in 2023 with a deficit approaching £800 million. By 2026, that figure has exploded to over £1 billion, and the council is now selling off assets, including artwork from the Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery, just to pay staff wages. This is not a temporary cash flow problem. This is a city that cannot afford to function as a city anymore, and property owners are paying the price in ways that will haunt them for decades. Property prices in Birmingham have crashed by over 40% from their 2022 peak. A home that would have cost £300,000 just a few years ago now sells for around $174,000, and that is only if it sells at all. The average time a property sits on the market in Birmingham is now over 400 days. More than a year of waiting, of mortgage payments on properties you cannot sell, of watching the value drop further with every passing month. Major estate agents are abandoning Birmingham entirely because there simply is not enough business to keep their offices open. When the professionals who make their living selling property decide a city is not worth their time, that should tell you everything you need to know. The employment situation makes everything worse. Jaguar Land Rover, which has been Birmingham's largest private employer for generations, announced 12,000 redundancies that have sent shockwaves through the entire regional economy. When a major employer cuts that many jobs, the damage spreads everywhere. Suppliers close down. Contractors lose work. Restaurants, shops, and service businesses that depend on workers having money to spend suddenly find themselves with empty premises. Unemployment in Birmingham hit 14% in December 2025, the highest rate outside Northern Ireland, and there is no sign of improvement coming. The Commonwealth Games in 2022 were supposed to transform Birmingham into an international destination. Instead, they left the city with a hangover it cannot recover from. The council spent nearly £3 billion it did not have on facilities and infrastructure, expecting that investment to attract new businesses and residents. That regeneration never came. The shiny new developments in Perry Barr sit at 40% occupancy. The Athletes' Village was converted into housing, but nobody wants to live there. 800 luxury flats stand empty because there are no jobs to support people who could afford the rent or mortgage payments. Basic infrastructure is literally being switched off. Streetlights are going dark across entire neighborhoods to save money. Bin collections have been reduced to monthly, creating public health concerns. Libraries, swimming pools, and community centers are closing permanently. Each service cut drives more residents away, which reduces the tax revenue the council collects, which forces more cuts. This is what economists call a death spiral, and Birmingham is trapped in one with no exit in sight. Net migration from Birmingham is negative 37,000 people annually, and these are not retirees moving to coastal towns. These are working-age families with children who see no future in the city and are escaping to Manchester, Leeds, Bristol, anywhere that offers hope. Crime has exploded as services collapse. Knife crime is up over 60% year on year. Car theft has more than doubled. Police response times for non-emergency calls are essentially non-existent because officers are so overstretched they simply cannot attend. You report a crime, you get a reference number for your insurance claim, and that is all. Buy-to-let mortgage applications in Birmingham have fallen by over 90%. Cash buyers from London who used to see Birmingham as cheap opportunity have completely disappeared. International investors who normally buy anything in major British cities will not touch Birmingham with a barge pole. The city's hope of regeneration through HS2 has been undermined by dramatic scaling back of the project. Birmingham gets all the construction disruption with only a fraction of the promised benefits. Aberdeen was once Scotland's wealthiest city, the oil capital of Europe, where high-paying jobs seemed guaranteed forever. That prosperity has evaporated so completely that Aberdeen now serves as a warning to every city that depends too heavily on a single industry. Property prices have fallen by over 50% from their peak, the worst decline anywhere in the United Kingdom, and experts say the bottom is still nowhere in sight. The North Sea oil industry is not declining. It is dying. Shell, BP Total, and other major operators are pulling out. 37,000 oil-related jobs have been lost since 2014, and another 20,000 are expected to go by 2027 as remaining platforms are decommissioned. These were not minimum wage positions. The average salary in Aberdeen's oil industry was £78,000. That purchasing power is gone forever, and it has taken the property market with it. Empty office buildings dominate the city center. Union Street, once called Aberdeen's Golden Mile, now has 60% of its units vacant. Former oil company headquarters are being converted into student accommodation that nobody needs because the universities are shrinking as young people flee to cities with actual futures. The property market statistics in Aberdeen are genuinely horrifying. The average time to sell a property is now over 500 days. 1 in 3 properties listed has been on the market for more than 2 years, with no buyer in sight. Desperate sellers are accepting offers 45% below their asking prices just to escape before values fall even further. The rental market collapsed first. When oil workers left, premium properties that had been renting for £3,000 monthly suddenly had no tenants. Landlords dropped rents to $2,000, then $1,500, then simply gave up and listed their properties for sale, adding to the oversupply that continues to crush prices. Aberdeen's attempt to reinvent itself as a renewable energy hub has failed completely. Wind companies are establishing their operations in Edinburgh and Glasgow instead. Aberdeen's geographic isolation, harsh weather, and dying cultural scene make it impossible to attract the workers and businesses that could rebuild the economy. The demographic collapse is accelerating. Average age rises constantly as young people leave, and only the elderly remain. 23 schools have closed in the last 3 years due to falling pupil numbers. The birth rate is the lowest in Scotland. Aberdeen is not just economically dying. It is literally dying out as a community. Middlesbrough represents everything that has gone wrong with post-industrial Britain and property prices there reflect a reality that should make any buyer extremely cautious. You can purchase a house in Middlesbrough for £25,000, which sounds like an incredible opportunity until you understand exactly why properties are worth so little. Unemployment in Middlesbrough stands at 21%. Youth unemployment reaches 38%. These are not temporary recession figures. This is permanent structural unemployment caused by the complete disappearance of the industries that built the town and the failure of anything to replace them. The British Steel Teesside Works was once Europe's largest steelmaking complex, employing 40,000 workers who supported families, local businesses, and an entire community. Today, it employs 700 people. The site is being redeveloped as Teesside Freeport, but warehouse jobs paying minimum wage do not create the kind of purchasing power that supports mortgages and sustains property values. Property prices in Middlesbrough have not just fallen. They have collapsed to the point of meaninglessness. Entire streets sell for less than a parking space in central London. The trap is that you cannot sell these properties again because the market does not exist. Estate agents will not even list properties under £30,000 because the commission is not worth their effort. Crime and social decay have made parts of Middlesbrough effectively unlivable. The town has England's highest crime rate outside London. Drug-related deaths run triple the national average. Life expectancy is 8 years below the UK average. This is not economic decline. This is societal collapse happening in real time. The town center has a 70% vacancy rate. Major retailers refuse to open stores because theft and violence make them unprofitable. The last department store closed in 2021. Now, the high street consists of pound shops, betting shops, and boarded-up units. Schools cannot attract teachers, and GCSE pass rates are the lowest in England. Dover was supposed to benefit from Brexit. Taking back control of borders was meant to restore the town's importance as Britain's gateway to Europe. Instead, Dover has become Brexit's biggest casualty, with property prices down nearly 40% and falling faster as economic isolation becomes permanent reality. The Port of Dover, the town's only significant employer, is dying. Freight traffic has fallen by nearly half since Brexit as companies reroute through other ports to avoid delays. Ferry companies are consolidating operations elsewhere. The P&O scandal destroyed whatever reputation the port had left. Tourism has collapsed completely. Day trippers who used to visit France have disappeared now that passport requirements make quick visits impractical. 6-hour queues at peak times mean nobody bothers anymore. Hotels report occupancy below 30%. Restaurants, shops, and attractions are closing constantly. The permanent lorry congestion makes Dover unlivable. Operation Brock, supposedly a temporary measure, has become permanent. The motorway is essentially a lorry park. Pollution, noise, and constant congestion have driven away anyone who could afford to leave. Properties in Dover sit on the market for over 600 days on average. Estate agents advise sellers to cut 40% from 2019 values just to get viewings, and even then buyers visit, see the reality of living in Dover, and withdraw their offers. Population has fallen 12% in 3 years, the fastest decline of any town in Britain. Schools are consolidating due to falling enrollment. Doctors refuse to work there, forcing GP surgeries to close. The town council is essentially bankrupt, kept alive only by emergency government funding that is about to end. These 4 places share characteristics that guarantee continued decline. Single industry dependence that failed catastrophically. Mass population exodus that accelerates monthly. Local government in financial collapse. Geographic or political isolation from economic opportunity. Complete absence of any credible regeneration plan. The UK property market is fracturing into two nations: places with futures and places without. These four locations represent places without futures, and buying property there is not contrarian investing. It is financial suicide. If you found this information valuable and want to make smarter property decisions, make sure to subscribe to UK Property Point for more analysis that could protect your financial future.